The era of cheap, unlimited access to artificial intelligence is cracking under the pressure. Major AI providers are rapidly abandoning flat-rate pricing to survive, pushing users into strict, heavily monitored token limits. Anthropic recently ran a test on their pricing page that made this reality very clear. Certain users trying to access Claude Code found it completely removed from the standard $20 plan, replaced with a strict $100 a month requirement. Running top-tier frontier models requires massive amounts of compute. If the provider doesn't recoup the specific cost of that inference, every single prompt you enter literally loses them money. Microsoft executed an identical pivot. GitHub Copilot originally offered a straightforward allowance of flat-rate executions. They have now shifted to metered token billing. Under a metered system, utilizing a heavy, complex model inherently consumes vastly more tokens per action. A quick routine task suddenly carries a premium price tag. With industry leaders burning billions of dollars every month to keep the servers running, they have no choice but to pass the true cost of compute directly onto developers. The subsidized trial period is officially over. Treating an AI assistant as a frictionless, invisible background utility is now a direct threat to your monthly development budget. This split-screen graph maps out the difference. On the left, you see the predictable flat trajectory of traditional software subscriptions we are used to. On the right, you see the new reality, an unpredictable, exponentially curving token burn rate based strictly on usage. The consequences of ignoring this curve are immediate. Uber recently reported burning through their entire annual AI budget in just 4 months of operation. You now have to weigh every frictionless coding shortcut against the harsh financial reality of your API costs. Developers must stop viewing these models as a limitless utility and start managing them as a highly restrictive premium resource. Relying exclusively on premium frontier models for your day-to-day work results in a rapid API burn rate that dissolves your capital. This comparison table breaks down a standard daily workflow. Under the old flat-rate system in column A, you could send 100 requests without thinking. In column B's metered environment, every request aggressively deducts from a hard limit. Look at the trivial tasks row. If you send every minor syntax check or basic boilerware request straight to a premium model like Claude Opus, your usage metrics spike instantly. The immediate outcome is simple math. You exhaust your individual API limits or blow through your enterprise team's budget within the first few days of the billing cycle. By wasting your allowance early, you lose financial access to those premium models exactly when you actually need them for complex architectural problem solving later in the month. The primary driver of this wasted budget is context window abuse. Pushing entire codebases into an expensive model just to fix a single misplaced bracket generates massive, unnecessary token costs. Blindly sending unreviewed, messy global state code to a premium API is an expensive mistake. Fixing it requires a structural change to how you build software. The immediate solution is instituting a strict local first-pass defense layer before any of your code touches a premium API. This flowchart illustrates a practical decision tree for reviewing code commits before you integrate Cloud AI. For simple tasks, route basic syntax checks, linting, and formatting errors directly to local, completely free first-pass tools. This local cleanup drastically reduces the overall size of the context window. You strip out all the noise before the data is ever transmitted to the cloud. For complex logic, you ensure that only cleanly formatted, highly compressed code snippets are sent up to the expensive frontier models. This requires a brief upfront time investment to configure your pipelines, and it does add a slight bit of friction before you commit your code. But that local optimization acts as a necessary financial filter. You save those premium cloud tokens for heavy lifting rather than paying top dollar for basic debugging. You can expand this local defense into a comprehensive hybrid dev stack, linking multiple, highly specialized tools into a single workflow. This quadrant chart maps specific coding tasks against the actual cost of the AI engine required to perform them. In the bottom left, you utilize entirely local, open-source models for routine tasks like reading documentation or basic repository context gathering. In the top right, you reserve the premium cloud APIs exclusively for high-level architecture design and complex logic mapping. The outcome of this hybrid approach is high code velocity without the financial penalty. Your developmental output scales up, while your monthly budget burn rate stays aggressively flat. The trade-off for developers is abandoning the comfort of the lazy one-click prompt. You have to actively manage multiple processing engines. Long-term coding efficiency now demands conscious, per-task decision-making. You must dictate which engine is economically appropriate before hitting enter. This hybrid dev stack has to be calibrated differently depending directly on your immediate financial reality. This dual-column scorecard breaks down the operational strategies for two different development profiles. For the indie developer, you trade time to save cash. You must configure strict local linters and local LLMs to survive the month on a tight budget. For an enterprise team, the goal is maintaining speed. You have to enforce strict internal API guidelines to prevent engineers from triggering sudden rate caps that halt production. Regardless of how much capital your team has, AI must be treated as a tightly monitored resource instead of an unlimited perk. The end of heavily subsidized processing power simply forces a disciplined return to highly efficient, traditional software engineering. Moving forward, you have to aggressively guard your context windows and heavily segment your tasks before deploying code. The massive companies building these models are under immense pressure to recoup billions in venture capital. Your job is to protect your own profit margins from their billing mechanisms. By mastering the token economy and building a hybrid workflow today, you maintain development speed and ensure your process remains economically viable long-term.